everybody, all you Xers out there. Welcome back to another edition of Gen X Thinks. I've got another nostalgia edition for you. I'm going to bring back a couple of things that I think y'all might enjoy. First thing on my list is, do y'all remember that old show Sledgehammer? The main character's name was actually, his first name was Sledge and his last name was Hammer. And he was like this idiot that carried around this oversized 44 Magnum, and he solved every problem with violence, and he was constantly getting suspended and getting in trouble. And his partner, the character's name was Dory Dorough, and she would always have to solve the problem after he was suspended and like get him out of trouble and vindicate him. I loved that show when I was a kid. He was just over the top. He was like halfway between Dirty Harry and Naked Gun, but over the top of both of them, more violent than Dirty Harry and even dumber than Naked Gun. But yeah, I really enjoyed that TV show. Another TV show I ran across, was reminded of recently, was Airwolf. That show was awesome. Both of these TV shows, they only ran for a couple of seasons, but Airwolf was like Knight Rider in the sky with missiles. It was cool as hell. And the main character's name was Stringfellow Hawk. I was thinking about it, and if the 80s was a person, right, up on a stage and the other decades were out there in the audience, that's all the 80s would have to say. Stringfellow Hawk. And just drop the mic and walk off the stage, right? I know Boomers had Cool Hand Luke, which is a pretty cool name. I got to give it to you, and it's a great movie. But Stringfellow Hawk, we just had great names, and everything was so extreme back in the 80s. That was just an awesome time. Everybody remember that movie Stand By Me? I remember the scene where they were trying to cut through the junkyard. The dog's name is Chopper, and the narrator says, "What we heard was Chopper, sick balls." I just made that reference the other day. I quoted that to my wife or something about a dog or something, and it went right over her head. She didn't remember the quote. I remember watching that movie though, and that stuck in my head for years. Chopper, sick balls. I wonder how many of y'all remember it. Another nostalgic reference I have, and I was kind of close to this one, was Mount St. Helens. Remember being alive when it erupted? I mean, years since then we've seen stuff about it and read about it or whatever, happening in the past. But I remember the day it happened. I was living in Oregon at the time, and we all came outside afterward. It looked like it had snowed, but it was gray. It was ash. Everything was just covered with about an inch of ash. The car, the grass, trees, everything. I mean, it looked like it had snowed. So it was a really crazy thing to go through. And we had to clean the ash off the car and stuff, and you had to do it carefully because that ash, it wasn't like snow. It would scratch the car, so you had to do it carefully, clean certain things off with care. I remember going through that and experiencing that as a kid. So I wonder how many of y'all actually remember the day that happened and what was your experience like. So if you were close enough to it to have some kind of experience from it, then please leave me a comment down below and let me know. And y'all remember lawn darts? Those things were so dangerous. I can't believe that they let us have it, even back then. I mean, that was insane, letting kids play with those things. Of course, first thing we did, we started throwing them like arrows or our regular shooting darts. We hardly ever threw them up at the circles we were supposed to try to be hitting. We threw them at each other like missiles. That was crazy. And then back then, remember, do y'all remember the 4th of July back then? I mean, we actually displayed patriotism, and even in small towns, we would go as a family to see these big fireworks shows and stuff, I remember that as just growing up, feeling that patriotic feeling as as a little kid for the 4th of July, and we would do stuff for school leading up to it. And nowadays, maybe some of the stores or whatever will have a 4th of July sale, and then they sell firecrackers and small fireworks at stands around down here in Florida anyway, leading up to the 4th of July, and then just for dirty-foot redneck kids to try to blow up cats or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing patriotic and joyful about the event. I don't know if in your part of the country, do you still celebrate 4th of July like that? Is it still a big thing, you know, in your state or your local town? Do you still have a fireworks thing you can go watch as a family, or has that all been done away with across the country? I was a little curious about that. But I live in Florida, here in Central Florida, and there's no local big fireworks display every year like there used to be. And do y'all remember doing that thing, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather? I think we all did that as kids. I don't know how that kind of stuff spreads around, you know, word of mouth from city to city, from state to state, but it does. It's crazy. I mean, now you can see it. It's on the internet. You make a post, you know, 10 million people can see it within an hour. But back then, it wasn't like that. So it kind of surprises me how that kind of information, those little quirky things we used to do, would spread throughout the whole country. Kind of interesting to think about. I'll leave you there with those few gnarly nuggets of nostalgia, and wish y'all a good day. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Stay excellent, Gen X. I'll see you on the next one.